Hello and welcome to episode 14 of the Talk Witchcraft podcast. The recording of this episode comes directly from one of the witch topic masterclasses inside of Mumbles Academy. In this episode, we are discussing the art of dream interpretation by learning about 4 different types of dreams. By learning to remember your dreams and understand the messages your dreams are telling you, you can make choices about your life and learn about yourself as well. You're listening to Talk Witchcraft, the podcast where we talk about witchcraft as a lifestyle and discover how to merge magic into your daily life. Every week, we'll demystify witchy topics like tarot, astrology, crystals, herbs, and more as you develop your personal brand of magic and create the life of your dreams. I'm your host, Maggie Hazeman. We are talking about interpreting our dreams and different types of dreams and what they might mean. So I think that dreaming is one of the most common ways for us to tap into our intuition. This is just because everyone dreams. Every single night you dream dreams, and you may not remember them, but you are dreaming because it's just a process that your body goes through. And you can learn to remember your dreams through certain exercises and ideas that I'll share with you. But even more importantly, you can learn how to interpret what these dreams actually mean. So what are your dreams trying to tell you? Because it's one thing to know what your dream is and to remember it, but when you actually start to interpret it, that's where you actually can gain some meaning. You can learn from them. You can use them to help you to make decisions. Dreams give you more information about yourself, who you are as a person, how you deal with situations. They can give you insight into other people in your life, how they are, their personality traits and characteristics, how they deal with situations, especially if you're in a problem with them or if you're in a relationship with them. You may even connect with deceased loved ones or your spirit guides through your dreams. Dreams can warn you of problems ahead or give you some sort of insight into your future. They offer inspiration and creativity. They help you to solve problems. So paying attention to your dreams really can be helpful in all areas of your life, no matter what you do or don't do in your daily life. All you have to do is learn to pay attention, and they do the work for you. Anytime you are dreaming, your subconscious is working throughout your sleep to tap into your psychic abilities. So it's a really good use of time to pay attention to what they're doing, because that's a good chunk of time that you're asleep and dreaming. Personally, I love dreams. I look forward to going to sleep because I get to dream. I like to see what's going to unfold for me each night. And in the beginning of trying to learn about psychic abilities and develop these psychic abilities for myself, my dreams were kind of the doorway into that world, tapping into my intuition and my inner wisdom and communicating with spirits as well. But usually in the beginning, your dreams are when you're starting to learn how to remember your dreams and to interpret them, they're going to be kind of choppy. It's going to be hard for you to remember exactly what happened. They're going to leave you quickly. So in the beginning, it can be a little bit frustrating because you feel like you're not really getting anything. But it does take practice. Just like with everything else, dreaming, interpreting your dreams takes practice, remembering your dreams takes practice, and just know that as you become more aware of your dreams, they will start to be more and more vivid for you, easier to remember, easier to recall in the future, much more symbolic, and give you access to what's going on in your subconscious mind. All sorts of information about the past, the present, and even the future. We're going to talk about some different types of dreams, not all of the different types of dream. There are tons of different categories of dreams. We are going to talk about daily life dreams, psychic premonition dreams, soul lesson dreams, and spirit communication dreams. These 4, I feel, are the most connected to your psychic abilities and developing those, giving you psychic messages. There are obviously other types of dreams. Nightmares are one type. Nightmares occur when you are working through certain issues in your daily life. So they are technically sort of like daily life dreams, but they're scary. And then there are physiological dreams, which are influenced based on your external environment. So if your room is really cold, you might dream about climbing Mount Everest or something like that. Those are physiological dreams where they're influenced by the temperature or the sounds you hear. Lucid dreaming is where you can actually control the dreams, so I don't feel like these are psychic dreams necessarily, because your conscious mind is actually controlling what's happening in the dream. Daydreams are really interesting and can be really wonderful for manifestation and other aspects of witchcraft, and in some ways psychic development, but not as closely aligned as these others that we're going to talk about. And there are lots of other different types of dreams. All are very interesting to talk about, but generally unrelated to the topic at hand, which is receiving psychic messages through your dreams. Before we talk about these different types of dreams, I just wanted to quickly mention that in the Mumbleship, you'll find a masterclass on dream interpretation. And in this lesson, I share some tips for learning how to interpret your dreams. You'll also find a downloadable dream journal template and 5 exercises for helping you to dream better so that you can remember your dreams more easily and ultimately be able to interpret them. Because you can't interpret your dreams if you can't remember them, right? So just go to www.mumblesacademy.com to enroll, and you'll find that masterclass by going to the Witch Topics tab in the navigation menu. So now let's talk about these different types of dreams. So we'll start with daily life dreams. In our dreams, we are able to better connect with our subconscious mind for information about our emotional, psychological, and mental state. We can work through all of the emotional clutter, our life concerns, past issues, all of these things in our dream state. So in our dreams, we can heal and release any buried anger, sadness, resentment towards a situation or a person, or even toward yourself. So dreams can be really useful for helping you to sort out all that kind of stuff that goes on in your daily life. And that is what a daily life dream is. The vast majority of your dreams are going to fall under this category. They are the things that you're dealing with in your waking life, and then they are symbolically represented in your dream life. So these are how you can work through those issues that you're dealing with, especially issues that you are unsure of how to handle on an emotional level. And this category also includes dreams that don't really make any sense. They seem really bizarre at the time, but that's just because you're still processing the emotions. Your subconscious mind might not really understand it, so things are coming out kind of strangely. Still important to record these, even if you can't make sense of them. You might be able to make sense of them later on. So many of these daily life dreams are pretty easy to interpret on the surface. They are usually pretty literal, but there's still often something going on just below the surface. So the interpretation of these dreams really creates a bridge between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. And this helps you to work through those situations, again, on an emotional level. All those issues that you're working through in your daily life, you can work through them emotionally as well. So if you remember the iceberg analogy, there's the conscious mind, which is the tip of the iceberg, and this floats above the waterline. This is a very small percentage of the iceberg. And then your subconscious is what is below the surface. It's like the majority of the iceberg below the surface of the water. And then that water level, everything that is water, this is the collective unconscious. So you are actively aware of your daily activities, but you are often unaware of your deeper thoughts and your feelings associated with those activities. And this is because your subconscious mind will often hide these from you. Your subconscious mind is protecting you oftentimes because there is the danger of these emotions taking over and you not being able to face your daily activities. But even though some of these deeper feelings and thoughts are hidden, they still influence your conscious mind. And this is why sometimes you may feel a certain way about something, but you don't really have any logical reason in your conscious mind. You can't really figure out why you feel that way, but you just know that you do. And then the collective unconscious is what ties all of our individual minds together. So we each have, what we think of as a separate entity, but it is connected to every other individual on this planet through the collective unconscious. this is one ocean of common knowledge, and this is where the language of symbols comes into effect. It lives in this collective knowledge based on culture and all of these other factors. And then there's what's called the superconscious, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a minute, but this is thought of as like your higher self or your soul. And your superconscious can access that collective unconscious through activities like meditation, through psychic sensations and impressions, and through things like dreaming. And so your superconscious is kind of pulling the symbols out of the collective unconscious, communicating them to your subconscious, and sharing that with your conscious mind. So since you might not understand all of the symbols in the world at this point, when you're first starting out with interpreting your dreams, you might want to invest in a dream dictionary or at least a symbol dictionary because they're generally the same. It doesn't change much just because it's in a dream. Understanding the symbolic meaning of certain images and pictures. So, you'll record your dreams, and you might also notice that certain patterns repeat throughout your dreams, which is more of like a personal connection to a certain symbol. It might not match the collective meaning though, and that's okay because your personal experience is just as valid, if not more valid, than that collective meaning because it is unique to you. So pay attention to both these things. Don't rely too heavily on the dream dictionary definition of a symbol if you feel like it means something else. We'll get into that in a minute. And then one other thing to remember about our daily life dreams is that sometimes when we are busy with our mundane life responsibilities during the day, it becomes nearly impossible to hear or to listen to our intuition, to see the things that we're meant to see on a psychic level, to smell or to taste or all of these other paraphysical sensations. You might miss out on these psychic impressions that you're meant to receive. Luckily, these impressions are subconsciously remembered, and then they are often communicated to you in your dreams. When you're in that relaxed dream state, those impressions can come through, or your subconscious mind can remind you of them. And so sometimes your daily life dreams will be psychic impressions that you experienced earlier in the day that you just missed. This can also happen when you share a really deep bond or connection with someone else. You might start to receive these psychic impressions about that person in your sleep. So you might learn something about people that you know while you're sleeping without having any logical reason to know that information. So, they haven't told you, nobody else has told you, but now you understand that bit of information about them. So intuitively, your dreams can also work to communicate powerful psychic messages, symbols, even premonitions, which we'll talk about in a minute, because dreams are like a direct line to your higher self, your superconscious, all of that wisdom of the collective unconscious, universe, whatever you want to call it, this invisible world. You don't always feel like you have access to it in your waking state, but in your dream state you do, and that's what it translates into these daily life dreams. Now there's also the psychic premonition dreams, and these are dreams that communicate information about the future in the form of a premonition, or they can even communicate information about the past, like a past life dream. And you might receive past, present, or future information about someone else, as I mentioned in your dreams. So you might get premonitions about someone else or get past life information about someone else in your dreams. So these are called psychic premonition dreams or psychic dreams, and they are intuitive dreams about people, places, events that haven't happened yet, or that you didn't experience in the case of a past life dream. But for a dream to be a premonition, it has to show evidence of precognition, which is knowing something before it happens. Cognition means knowing, and pre means before, so knowing something before it happens. Dreaming is just like any other tool that a psychic uses to see the future, so tarot cards, runes, astrology, crystal gazing, and all these other tools that can be used to see the future, aren't always used for seeing the future, but can be used for that purpose. Dreaming is just another tool. And some people can go to sleep with the intention to have a premonition dream, but most of the time these dreams just happen. You don't see it coming, you don't necessarily ask for it, it just happens. And I've had a few premonition dreams in my life. Usually they're very mundane, nothing life-changing or life-altering. But the key way to recognize a premonition dream from the other types of dream that we are talking about is that it is hard to let it go. So we talked about this with our psychic nudges, knowing that it's not your imagination or logic, it is a psychic impression. It's the same with a premonition dream. If you have a hard time letting it go, if you can't return to your waking life, you can't shake the message from this dream, then this might be a premonition dream. Oftentimes you actually won't even be able to go back to sleep because of it. It's a message that you have to hear right now. Now, with all premonitions, the moment that you learn about the future, you can take action to change it. And oftentimes, anything you do from the moment you learn about it can change it and maybe will change it. So of course, this means that you never really know for sure if it was in fact a premonition dream, because if you've changed the course of the trajectory of your path, you'll change that event. So if you dream of being in a car accident and you decide to work from home that day, the car accident might not happen because you were a key factor in its occurrence. But then again, the car accident may still happen along your commute, but you won't be harmed because you obviously stayed home. So that's kind of the frustrating thing about premonitions of all kinds. There are so many moving parts and variables that are not fully understood, and so you never really know which piece is going to change that outcome. That kind of dream can be kind of scary, especially if it is a warning of like a danger coming, like a car accident, and you might even mistake it for a nightmare and just brush it off or try to go back to sleep. But of course, not all prophetic dreams are warning you. They're not always about danger. Sometimes you'll get premonitions of blessings that are on their way to you or joys of your future. It's just that oftentimes the scary, kind of dangerous prophetic dreams are a bit more memorable because they are shocking because of this danger that you see coming in your future. The next kind of dream that we are going to talk about is a soul lesson dream. So these are the dreams that are messages from your higher self. It's when there's a lesson that you need to learn or a topic that you need to explore. As you continue paying attention to and recording your dreams, you're building this connection between your subconscious and your conscious mind. And this also creates a connection to that superconscious. And so when your superconscious goes and takes night classes from the collective unconscious, from this energy field where all of the thoughts of all of humanity are stored, you get that message in the form of a dream. So the collective unconscious is this higher plane of existence, and when your superconscious accesses this higher plane of existence, you sometimes experience that. You access these divine teachings, these spiritual lessons, and they come to you in your dreams. So if you want to receive more dreams like this, if that's something that you want, and you want to become more spiritually enlightened, you can set the intention when you go to sleep, and you can start to reprogram your mind to connect to your higher self and to receive more dreams like this so that you can access those divine teachings and become more spiritually enlightened. And you might even involve your guides in this. Your spirit guides can help in the process. If you want, you can invite them into your dreams and ask them to guide you in this process. And this is also a good first step towards learning to lucid dream. So lucid dreaming is where you actually take control, as I mentioned before, where you take control of the dream. You can change any detail you want, you can change the characters, you can change the scenarios. And this is lucid dreaming is really good for helping you to work through issues in your waking life, because you can run all of these different scenarios and see how you feel about them. Again, this isn't really a psychic ability or a psychic type of dreaming. But if you want to learn how to do that, then learning to get more of these soul lesson dreams is a good first step. So these first three types of dreams that we've talked about engage your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and your superconscious mind. And when they all work together, this is how you learn to communicate with spirits and loved ones. And that leads us to the last kind of dream that we are going to talk about, which is spirit communication. So these are dreams where you are visited by a deceased loved one or a spirit guide in order to communicate with them. So again, they're not about subconscious prophecies or premonitions. It's not about working through something in your conscious mind or your conscious and subconscious mind communicating. They're not lessons of your soul to get towards spiritual enlightenment. These are dreams where someone actually passes through the veil that is between the physical and spiritual realms in order to communicate with you. And these spirits might visit to let you know that they're okay or that they're still around, and this is usually in an effort to bring you comfort. Another reason is to offer some sort of guidance or information on a current issue that you're dealing with. So spirits have this broader scope of understanding, so they can offer insights that you might not have considered before, because they can see things from this whole other perspective. They can see the big picture where you're very tunnel vision when it comes to things that are happening in your life. Now, if you're a medium, then you have likely experienced communication with spirits in your waking life in some way, some form or another. If you have not opened yourself up to these kinds of abilities, you might first encounter them in your sleep, or you might only encounter them in your sleep. And that's okay. If you're not interested in this type of psychic ability, in mediumship, it's okay. Just know that you might experience it in your sleep because, as I mentioned before, in that relaxed dream state, you are more open to psychic abilities, you're more open to receiving visitors from the spirit realm, and you may even have had a dream in the past where you communicated with a spirit and you just thought it was a regular dream, and that's okay too. But you can tell the difference between what is a spirit communication dream and a dream where you just wish you could communicate with a loved one who has passed on. So you'll know that it is a spirit communication dream if you find that you have new information that you couldn't otherwise know. So there's no logical reason for you to have this information. Maybe it's like the location of your grandmother's locket or something like that, or you have new information about another family member that you are connected to, and there's no other reason for you to have that information. It could also be a dream where you communicated with a spirit if you also receive prophetic information that later comes true. So it's a combination of those premonition dreams and a spirit communication dream. Another way to tell is that if when you wake up, you can still feel the presence or the energy of that spirit. Maybe this is a familiar smell like their perfume or cologne or another sensory clue, then that's a good indication that this was a visitor in your dream. And then goosebumps are another indicator of a spirit communication dream, but not always, because goosebumps indicate really strong emotions, and you would certainly feel strong emotions if you have just dreamt about someone that you have loved and lost. So goosebumps in combination with the others would be a much better indication that this was in fact a spirit communication dream and not just a wishful dream. Thank you so much for listening. To sum up, in this episode, we talked about what dreams are and where they might come from. We also learned about 4 different types of dreams that help you to interact with your intuition and receive psychic messages. So these are daily life dreams, psychic premonition dreams, soul lesson dreams, and spirit communication dreams. If you want to learn more about interpreting your dreams and go beyond simply recognizing the types of dreams that you have experienced, I hope that you'll join us in the Mumbleship, where you can watch the rest of this masterclass and download the dream journal templates and dream exercises that I mentioned earlier. You can find out more about this episode by going to mumblesandthings.com/blog/014 and join me next Tuesday when we will talk about crystals in magic. Now make sure that you subscribe so that you are notified about each new episode. And to help other witches find this show and to help this podcast grow, please leave me a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook, and join us in the Mumbles and Things Facebook group, where you can chat about this episode with other witchy folks. Just go to talkwitchcraft.com. Wait, don't go yet! Thanks for listening to Talk Witchcraft with me, Maggie. If you've enjoyed this episode, I invite you to check out mumblesacademy.com. Mumbles Academy is the place to be for intuitive souls at any stage of their witch path. Whether you are a wildling at the very beginning of your witchcraft journey and are looking for a safe learning environment, a creator who is committed to your practice and wants to develop your witchcraft skills even more, or a sage who is full of wisdom already and wants to share what you know with others, Mumbles Academy was designed for you. With monthly masterclasses and live Q&As, an extensive archive of courses and trainings, and a supportive community to help you along the way with encouragement and advice. Mumbles Academy is the perfect place for you to be as you continue on your witch path.